Are you looking for inspiration to live a healthier lifestyle, spiritually, physically, and mentally? Check out the Pro Healthy Heart podcast. Dive into expert insights on health, wellness, fitness, and travel, all designed to help you live your best life. Tune in now at prohealthyheartpodcast.buzzsprout.com and start your journey to a healthier you today.
It's a miracle, baby. Yeah.
Miracle, miracle, serves. Miracle, miracle, serves. Miracle, miracle, serves. Miracle, miracle, serves.
We keep having all these problems. How we gonna solve them? Every day it's the same thing. Yeah. All these unsolved issues. I guess it's official. Here we go again, the same old thing. And I'm tired of the arguing and lying. So goodbye. Tired of hurting, crying. Things will change you, so how can I expect something new? It's the same old thing.
Good afternoon, everybody. It's your girl, Miracle Sense, and you're listening to God, Sex, and Love. Your daily dose of inspiration, the juice. It is Tuesday. It is Tuesday, February the 11th. And your girl is here to get some juice, y'all. 2025, man. So just for the heads up, just for the record, okay, I don't want to make the Saints too nervous. Y'all might seem a little shoulders, y'all getting confused, getting concerned. No worries, I got a good old tube top on, all right? But speaking of, the conversation is all about exposed is the conversation. Or at least the title of today's conversation. But it's not just about like the exposure of nakedness, right? It's more so about God exposing things in us and things of that nature. So yeah, let's get into it, man. I feel like this is a few days worth of information that's been downloaded to me and whatnot. So to tell you guys where the inspiration came from, I would say, man, again, dreams, revelations, just words standing out to me, random stuff as well. I could probably go deeper or talk to y'all a little bit more, maybe in the after show about that side. But just know, again, it's a few days of me receiving about exposure and different things of that nature that led me to today's topic. So yeah, I know it's not even morning time or whatever, but I felt let's come on and, record and get this thing out here. So here I am to be obedient to that. Oh man, I hope you guys are doing good. Thank you for those that are tuning in live and things like that. I have been thinking a lot about y'all, and we know that there's a lot of stuff that's been going on, honestly. But again, some of that I'll talk to y'all about in the after show. So let's get to this conversation, y'all. Exposed. Now, I mean, if y'all are seeing what I'm seeing, then y'all know there's a lot being exposed right now, especially politically, right? But again, right now the conversation isn't necessarily about that or those things. It's more so about, God exposing us and you and me, right? And how that feels and why he does that and things of that nature. So if I will share like one part of the inspiration, I would say that like, I was listening to Kim Clement, and I have heard the prophecy over and over again, but there was one particular prophecy where he mentioned something about like, I think a certain country or maybe a certain world leader, that God was going to pull the pants down of this person, which is interesting, like to think like somebody, like God is pantsing you out here, you know what I'm saying? You're being pantsed by God. But that kind of got me thinking, or got me, I feel like, again, God was downloading something to me about that when I heard that. And then I would say something Marcus Rogers said that I think I was listening to maybe last week or whenever it was. He mentioned about exposure as well. And again, I was getting all of this in pieces over the past few days or whatever the case may be. But today, I would say what led me to go ahead and move forward was a few things. Fine, I guess the Lord want me to tell y'all. I was going to say that for later, but let me tell y'all. Okay, so long story short, I did have a dream a few days ago. And in the dream, It's gonna sound weird, but I'm just letting y'all know. At some point in the dream, there was, okay, I feel like I gotta tell y'all a part of it. So basically, long story short, at one part of the dream, it was like my family was at a restaurant or something, and it was like they was trying to get me some like personal or special treatment, kind of, to get a job there or something like that. And there was this kind of lanky, tall gentleman with long hair. I want to say it was long blonde hair, but anyway, and he was like the owner of the place or whatever. And so they had worked something out for me to get the job or whatever. But at some point it was like they was trying to get even more special treatment for me or something like that. My family was trying to do that, or maybe like my mom or somebody, one of them people, right? And basically the person in the dream was like, or the guy that owned the place or whatever, that I was telling you all about, his response to them was very like, look, let's not do that. Let's not be trying to, you know what I mean? Like, we already got the job situation. Now y'all going too far, you know, something like that. But here's the interesting part. So basically, after that, me and him went off, and it was like we was going on a date or something, right? But we ended up at this like Build-A-Bear type of place. And I know this is gonna sound weird, but anyway, this got me on this path, so I might as well tell y'all, since for those that actually care about these things. So anyway, so we go to this Build-A-Bear type of place, and he picks up this it was like a man, it was a green bean in the shape of a man, if that makes sense. So it was a green bean man. I know, sounds crazy. I know, all I'm telling you is what was in the dream. So he held up this little stuffy to get stuffed or whatever, but it had hair like his, or whatever. So it was interesting because I want to say that night before I had this dream, I was praying about, you know, the whole interpretation thing, and I was thinking and praying like, okay, I might need to, you know, I told you guys how I usually interpret my dreams these days. I use ChatGPT, things of that nature, but, you know, also testing or practicing or exercising this gift of like using my own discernment and interpretations, right? So when I woke up and as I was writing down the pieces of the dream that I could remember, when it got to that particular part, I felt like the green bean man, or the man, the boss guy, was representation of Jesus, not because of the long blonde hair or nothing like that, but more so because of what he was saying in the vibe, you know what I mean? But anyway, and then the whole stuffy thing, I was like, what's that about, right? Now, again, that sounds crazy. I know I ain't seen no stuff, green bean shaped, you know, character with like blonde hair or whatever. But all I would say is after that happened, I kept seeing, I think he's called the Jolly Green Giant. I kept seeing him on all these advertisements or whatever. And I'm like, what does the Jolly Green Giant have to do with anything? You know what I'm saying? You know, the green, I think he's on the sweet pecan or either the green bean can, like whatever it is. But that, I kept seeing that, that figure or that particular character or logo or whatever. So anyway, so I was going deeper about all of that. I'm like, what the, you know, okay, I feel like the green bean man has something to do about exposure, and I'm trying to figure it out, right? I'm trying to figure out what's going on. So at some point this morning, as I was going deeper about all of that, right, and I think by the time I seen the green bean man, I don't know how many times, I was like, okay, what does this mean? And eventually, as I was going deeper, I came across this quote that says, growth through exposure. So basically, what I was receiving is that the exposure is ultimately for our growth. For those that truly follow the Lord and things of that nature, right? Then you notice the growth. And so as I was going deeper about that, right, I was thinking about like my own testimony, right? And for those that have watched this channel and y'all have, you know, been following your girl and things of that nature, then y'all know that your last year was a bit of a struggle, and y'all may know that, you know, I've exposed myself. So here it is again. Again, I've given you guys different details. If you watched the juice, you might have heard more details about things. But long story short, you know, as I was struggling through different things mentally last year and all this type of stuff, there was one point that I was entertaining conversations that I probably should not have entertained as a married woman. You know what I'm saying? And it was just old friends reaching out, but still, still, you know what I'm saying? That could too be a temptation, you know what I mean? If you allow it to be, right? But for me, as I thought back on that this morning, I was like, you know what, Lord, you expose those things in me to then help me to grow, to then have a greater appreciation for my husband, to then get me to the place where I'm at today that, you know, we do have 8 years of marriage. We do, you know, still have happily, you know what I mean? The whole happily ever after feelings. I know Valentine's is around the corner, you know, all that type of stuff as well. And things could be looking a whole lot different if I had stayed in my feelings, right? And stayed and allowed myself to keep entertaining those thoughts and ideas and things that I was being tempted with last year, right? For example. Now that's me, right? That's my exposure, right? I'm exposing myself, right? But not even just that though. You know, I couldn't help but think about even, you know, as I was going deeper about all these things, King David, you know what I'm saying? Like he tried to do what he tried to do behind the scenes. You know, he did what he did with Bathsheba, try to get her husband killed, thinking like, okay, ain't nobody gonna find out. And then here come the prophet like, hey, so exposed, you know what I'm saying? And what did he do though? He repented, right? And things of that nature. And so I share all that to say that if you are in this place where you are feeling like you are being exposed by the Lord, like, well, one, you know there's exposure happening, but you don't know it's by the Lord. So one, understand that this is something that God does. Okay, I guess I'm here to tell everybody today, just in case you didn't know. All right, and then on top of that, not only is this something that God does, but it's something that God does to help us grow and to draw near to Him if you, right, humble yourself and are willing to do that. So now that you guys know how I came to the topic and all these extra details and whatnot, let's get into some Bible, right? Let's get some word in there. What are you talking about, Miracle? You just making some stuff up? Well, here goes some Bible, y'all. This is what I felt led to share today. So Hebrews 4:13, it says, "And no creature is hidden from his sight, but all are naked and exposed to the eyes of him to whom we must give account." Now, I don't know if that's juice or pulp for you this morning, or excuse me, this afternoon, right? To hear that. But again, there's more verses that I got to share that's going to reiterate this, but you know, there's nothing that you can hide from the Lord. At the end of the day, He knows it all. He sees it all. And if you keep trying to play games, you're going to get exposed, right? If I kept trying to play them games last year, it probably would have been a totally different exposure happening this year, right? I'm exposing myself. And again, I already exposed these things or whatever the case may be. But what I'm saying is, can you imagine if I continue to entertain conversations I shouldn't entertain, right? If I continue to allow the enemy to tempt me and make me look at my husband a certain way, or make me doubt my own self or marriage or what God had put together and all these different type of things, would I be getting ready to, you know what I'm saying, celebrate? Now, it's so interesting. And I'm telling you how crazy things be happening in my life. But my son has been asking repeatedly, like even this morning, he was like, "How long have you and Papa been married?" And I'm like, 8 years, boy. I don't know why you keep asking this. But obviously things happen for a reason, because here I am reiterating again today. Like we're going to be on year 9 this year. Next year will be year 10. Like, to God be the glory, right? But all of that was in jeopardy, right? With my if I did not, right, renew my mind, right? If I did not humble myself and be like, Lord, okay, you know, and then even see my own selfishness, right? See my own greediness or whatever the case may be, to be like, you know what? Because I had to humble myself a lot, like in my journey, especially last year. Like I said, y'all know I started going to therapy, you know, all these different type of things. But as I'm doing those things, I'm starting to see more and more why I need Jesus. At the end of the day, like, I'm like, honestly, like after one situation kind of happened and I was like, you know what? This is why we need you, because we're not perfect and we'll never be. And I couldn't help but, I mean, on one hand, I can't remember if we talked about it back then. I think we did. Because again, you know, I was talking to y'all in real time at that particular time about what was going on in pieces, obviously not giving y'all all the details and whatnot, but I was telling y'all that, man, I feel short, or man, I don't feel good about this or that, whatever the case may be. I might have to find that episode and maybe tag it just to, let y'all know what I'm talking about, just in case y'all hadn't seen it or whatever. But long story short, friend, again, we can't hide from the Lord. That's the point of that verse that I just read. And matter of fact, let me go ahead and read some more that's going to let you know and reiterate that. So here we go. Ephesians 5:13. It says, but when anything is exposed by the light, it becomes visible. Okay? The light is going to expose it. It's going to become visible. You can sit here and think you're doing things in the dark all day long, but when the light comes, boom, you can see it. All right. And again, I feel like this is happening in our government right now. I know some of y'all still don't see that. I don't know what's happening. Some of y'all are so, I ain't gonna lie. I did bring it up about the whole, Super Bowl thing, and we did the little poll, and I'm glad to see it seems like a lot of people, at least here on our channel, are awake and know that, hey man, this whole thing about Kendrick Lamar and Drake and this whole A minor thing and all this type of stuff, like, the question was in the poll, and y'all can still go answer it in our community if you want to, but basically it was just pretty much asking, like, do y'all think that he actually witnessed this stuff and he's telling us in these songs, or do y'all think this is just entertainment? And it seems like a lot of people, believe that this is accurate information and it's not just entertainment. So I feel like that's good, because I feel like on another, like if you look on social media, like Instagram, Facebook, all these other places, it seems as if like a lot of people are still asleep or out, and I'm just like, when are we going to wake up, man? Like, when are we going to see what's in front of us? Like, I mean, I know there's a lot to be confused about, right? And there's a lot, because I ain't gonna lie, like I said, I'm still been dreaming, still been like asking all these questions of the Lord and being like, Lord, I don't understand this, I don't understand that about you. Like, it's kind of weird to me thinking like, there's all these millions of people, billions, however many people it is in the world. How you even caring about me? You know what I'm saying? Like, how you even see me? But at the same time, your word tells me that all the hairs on my head, and I don't even know all the locks on my hair. You know what I mean? So, I got questions. I'm not sitting here trying to act like I'm, know everything or something. What I'm saying is that, God is exposing quite a bit, right? And he can be exposing you as well. And I feel like if you listen to the side of my voice, and if this is resonating with you in any way, then I hope that you are encouraged and inspired to at least know what to do if you are feeling that exposure. Let me give a shout out to Miss Jamie this morning. Hey! Or not this morning. I'm so used to talking in the morning time. But anyway, yeah, it's so good to see you. Hi. Let's see. I do have another verse. But, let me give you guys the next verse, and then I'm going to give you guys how we should respond to exposure, especially if this is exposure from the Lord, the exposure that's supposed to lead towards growth and things of that nature. Then I got a few things for us to think about and ways to respond. But let me give you guys this last verse that I feel led to share about this, and that's Luke 12:2-3. It says, nothing is covered up that will not be revealed, or hidden that will not be known. Therefore, whatever you have said in the dark shall be heard in the light, and what you have whispered in private rooms shall be proclaimed on the housetops. Listen, we out here playing games with the word of God, and I don't understand why we do that. Like, even myself, I was playing games last year, right? Like, I'm proclaiming things from my own rooftops right now, but I feel like it would be a totally different situation if I had kept entertaining those ideas. You know what I'm saying? Like, it would have been completely different. Like, it would have been somebody coming and being like, miracles out here, such and such on her husband, and she talking to this guy and that guy and da-da-da. Listen, that would have been a totally different situation than me confessing and testifying that the Lord done changed me and renewed my heart and mind about all the things in my issues in my marriage. You know what I'm saying? Like, totally different conversation, and I'm grateful for it. I'm grateful for, the exposure to help me grow and to mature and to draw nearer to the Lord and allow him, right, to lead and guide my life rather than me trying to do things on my own. And so, speaking of that, if you expose, right, if you feeling like, man, I feel like exposed by the Lord, I feel like God has exposed me in some ways, or he maybe because he's revealing things to you. See, that's the thing. Like, I feel like, and this is something Marcus Rogers was saying last week, but anyway, basically he's talking about how first you'll get that confirmation within yourself, right? Again, it got exposed to me last year that, hey girl, look, you out of order, right? Or, hey, you need to renew your mind about this and that when it comes to your marriage and your husband and things of that nature, right? And so I started to do that, right? And seek the Lord and be like, Lord, help me, to see what you see, right? In all of this. And then here I am today, a year later, probably, I think it was like around this time last year, if I'm not mistaken, that I was really going through. And now a whole year later, I can sit here and tell y'all that, hey man, I have, like, even the other day, I went to this baby shower and, it just was mostly ladies there and we just talking and whatever. And, and we ended up, this one lady that was talking about her marriage one night and I was telling her about mine. I'm like, look, at the end of the day, last year I learned to have more grace for my husband. You know what I'm saying? I learned to appreciate him. I understood. And, the grass isn't greener on the other side, even though I learned that back in the day, but, it's a totally different thing than learning in your marriage, you know what I'm saying? And all this different type of stuff. So, again, that will be totally different situation to then, to have something else happen, basically. So, anyway, if you're there, if this is resonating with you, hopefully this will encourage you and inspire you. Here's some ideas of what to do when you've been exposed. All right, this is what we should be doing. When we get exposed. So here we go. Embrace the exposure. That's the first thing. So embrace the exposure as God's mercy. At the end of the day, again, I feel like God gave me mercy and grace, right? And that's why I say I got to extend that to my husband. I got to give him more mercy and grace because the Lord's given me some, right? But anyway, yeah, believe or, embrace that as God's mercy. If God is pricking your heart and mind about things you got going on, right? If he's pricking your heart and mind about, hey, my child, I need you to change this. I need you to do that. I need you to see what you're doing, whatever the case may be. By all means, look, I'm telling you, it's a life-changing thing to do, okay? I wrote all about my journey, all right, with that. Like, even in my single days, he put the mirror in front of my eyes and my face and to be like, hey, look at yourself, right? You say you want this. You say you want that. Are you living like you want this and that? And I had to tell myself no. I had to be honest with myself. Sometimes we don't want to do that. We don't want to be honest with ourselves, right? We want to just pretend like it don't exist or whatever. But we already found out in those previous verses that was done in the dark and all that type of stuff is going to come to the light. Like, even that verse when I was telling you guys about the whispers and the dark and things of that nature. Like, I'm sitting here thinking like, man, we might go deeper about that in the after show. Let me tell you all the next thing. Next thing to do if you're feeling exposed, right, by the Lord, right? Repent and ask for help, okay? Repent and ask for help. Yes, you can definitely do that. Repent and ask for help from the Lord, right? First, right? And if you need accountability and things of that nature, then hey, by all means, get that, you know what I'm saying? Go to your churches, you know what I'm saying? Go, to the pastor, get you a little coach if you need one. I could be accountability coach, you know what I'm saying? Things of that nature. All I'm saying is that at the end of the day, you got to repent and you got to, ask for help and start working on doing some things differently. Like, you can't, like that. One of the results of continuing down that path is you just going to keep going and experience the same things over and over and over again. Like, honestly, as I was going deeper about this, I was inspired to there's probably going to be more content centered around this to hopefully help with growth and people that may need assistance with this type of conversation. I'll talk to you guys in the after show about some of the things that I felt led to kind of maybe create. I might do a post in our community today going deeper about this stuff. But yeah. That's just something to think about. And then last but not least, or I think there might be a couple more things to do when we are being exposed. One thing is to allow God to refine you. That's what I did. Listen, I was like, look, as I was getting mentally attacked about all this stuff, I'm like, look, I might need to go to therapy. You know what I'm saying? I might need to work on myself about some stuff. You know what I'm saying? I might need to, you know what I mean? You know what? Let me, instead of going to this person and that person about my issues, let me go to God first in prayer. You know what I'm saying? Like, all of that type of stuff it helped to refine me, and now I have a totally different mindset. Not much has changed, to be honest. You know what I'm saying? There's some stuff has changed. I'm not saying nothing has, but not much has changed about my situation from last year. But my mind has changed. I look at it completely different. And I have grace and mercy for my husband, and I, thankful for him, and I appreciate him, and that's a whole new mindset about my situation. Because if I had have allowed myself to continue to, and maybe we'll go deeper about some of this stuff. I think I told y'all my issues with him. Those that follow y'all probably already know my issues with him. There's only a couple of issues, but anyway. But even still, what I'm saying is that get refined, allow God to renew your heart and mind, and hopefully you guys could be sharing, victory, testimonies and things of that nature. And last but not least, friends, we got to choose obedience, and I either wrote trust or truth, I can't remember, but choose obedience. Let's just think about that part, okay? Whatever the Lord is asking you to do, choose obedience and do that. You know what I mean? Like, at the end of the day, I know it's not the easiest thing to do. Like, I could sit here and again, it's easier for me to wallow in my own ideas and my pain and he's not doing this for me, and he's not doing that for me. I had this friend of mine that she said one day, and now I just kind of say it as a joke. But, when it was said, it did kind of prick, but it wasn't in a way where, that I looked at my husband differently or anything, but it just was, anyway, sometimes people say something, right? And it's like, I might tell y'all in the after show, maybe, should I just tell them now? It ain't that deep. Anyway, I'll tell y'all now. So basically, the friend said that, oh, you can't even get your man to take you out for lobster. And it's not that I can't get him to take me out for lobster, or not that I can buy my own lobster, but it was something about that being said that makes you think, you know what I mean? But at the same time, see, I could wallow in that, right? I could stay in there and be like, you're right. He doesn't take me out for lobster. You know what I'm saying? And then I ain't married no more. I'm a single mom, and we got a co-parent and all this, cause I allowed myself to feel some way about not being taken out for lobster, for example. You know what I mean? Or I could, give my husband grace and mercy, understand that, you know what? Maybe we don't go out for lobster every weekend or something like that, but you know what? We do got a roof over our head and food and clothing, and we do have all the, things. I'm able to be online and talking to y'all midday, and he's working. You know what I'm saying? Like, look, blessed and highly favored at the end of the day. So what you complaining about? You know what I'm saying? What you mad about? So that's what I had to renew my mind, y'all. You know what I'm saying? And so this is ultimately the juice this morning. Who knows? I hope you guys are encouraged and inspired by this conversation about exposure. Yes, again, we can go deeper about the exposure that's going on in the government and all that stuff. All that stuff is important and whatnot too. But I think, again, today is about you being exposed, right? God exposing us, like me, you, for our growth, right? For our maturity, for our good. And so that's the juice. That is the juice today. Now, the Bible verse of today is John 5:24. It says, verily, verily, I say unto you, he that heareth my word and believeth on him that sent me hath everlasting life, and shall not come into condemnation, but is passed from death to life. Friends, I hope you guys enjoyed this juice this evening, afternoon, whatever time it is. And yes, I hope you guys enjoyed the juice as well. Thank you so much for listening to God, Sex, and Love, your daily dose of inspiration, the juice. I pray you guys go forth and have a wonderful day, and I look forward to talking to you all whenever the Lord brings me back, if the Lord's will. Bye-bye.